What's going on, guys? Long time no see. It's been quite a while since I've had a video up on the channel, and it's just been because I've been busy. I've been doing a lot of guiding this year, and not a whole lot of filming, not a whole lot of YouTube filming at least. We do keep a camera on the boat, and I do throw clips up to Instagram and Facebook, but haven't done a full-length YouTube video for you guys. So I just finished the tournament a couple weeks ago. We did really well, and I had a camera rolling the whole time, so I figured I'd make a little YouTube video for you guys and just do a quick recap of the tournament, show some highlights, some of the fish we caught, and strategy that we used. So getting right into it, this was the Figure 8 Battle of the Virginias tournament. It's an open water Virginia and West Virginia tournament. It's 2 days, or rather a day and a half. So you can fish anywhere in the state of West Virginia, anywhere in the state of Virginia. I've been fishing this tournament several times in the last 5 or 6 years since they started doing it. I've placed second and fifth, or second and seventh, I believe, but never won the tournament, and have always wanted to. And of course, being that it's open water, I can fish my honey holes and fish the water that I'm used to fishing, that I do best at. So little home field advantage there, but you're also competing against guys in both states that are fishing their home waters. So it's a really unique tournament, a lot of fun to do. Brandon Lilly puts it on every year, he does a great job. And so yeah, let's get right into it. So the morning of day one, me and my partner Rafal. Rafal is a good buddy of mine, client, comes fishing with me quite a bit every year. And me and him had talked about fishing this tournament for a while. So we finally got entered and did it this past year. But anyways, we put our boat in and had a game plan. A certain hole we were gonna fish that had some large fish in it, and got right to it. Put the boat in early, got right up to there, to the hole we were gonna fish, and right at tournament start, we put a line in the water and started fishing. And the game plan was to hit this hole really hard, to spend a lot of time fishing this area and try to get one of those big fish in the boat, because the way this point system works is big fish are weighted heavy. So like one 50-inch fish would beat out, 2 or 3 smaller fish. And usually teams in the past that have won this tournament usually have bigger fish in their catches. So plan was to fish this first hole and fish it hard. But as plans often do, this plan didn't work out too well for us. We had another team come in and start fishing that hole right along with us, and instead of trying to compete for the same spot, we just got on the motor and went up the river 10-12 miles and started fishing some other water. And that right there was probably the best thing that we did that day, was to make that move, because pretty much immediately after making that move, we started catching fish. First spot we came to, I started throwing a glide bait, and almost immediately, like second or third cast, I hooked a fish. Got it in. It was a sub, only 27 inches, so we could not enter it in the tournament, but just getting a little action, getting an eat, just another part to the puzzle, another key piece of information that we needed, glide baits. And so I caught that fish on a glide bait on a DF shum, and so I kept throwing that bait. That first hole that we caught that fish in was a really small area. Didn't spend a lot of time there. It's just 10-15 minutes, caught that one fish, nothing else was moving, on to the next spot. So we continued up the river and got to the next spot, and almost immediately when we got there, Rafal started moving fish. Now Rafal was throwing a shallow invader. Pretty much he kept that bait on the entire weekend. He was moving fish left and right. Didn't have any good eats on it, but they were hard charging the bait into the figure 8, boat side, really aggressive chases, and we were finding fish like that. So got to spot number 2, or rather spot number 3. Rafael started moving fish, several really nice fish, and that brings us to the first clip, and that's a nice fish that follows Rafael in. He does a figure 8, it shoots off at the boat. It kind of looked like it spooked a little bit, but it was just seeing my glide bait out the corner of his eye, and it went straight from his bait to my bait, smacked my glide bait, and we were able to land that fish, and that was our first fish of the tournament, 46 inches. So check it out. Nice fish. Fucker. Come in deeper. Come in deeper. Yeah, got her. Got her. Got her. She's barely home. Barely home. Come on. Come on. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready.
Ready? Whenever you're ready.
Yes! Yes!
Dude, my shit was tangled with the fucking piece of wood on it. Look at this.
Dude.
I brought my fucking invader and had a piece of stick on it. I saw her behind you. And she fucking went right after your fucking lighter.
She fucking crushed that freaking bait. So after we released that fish, called the fish in to Brandon, got points on the board. We were feeling pretty good. We got our first fish in the boat and it was a good fish. So we keep fishing and we're still in the same area and I'm running the live scope. So I'm not right on the transducer moving it around kind of looking at stuff, but I've got it set up at an angle where I can watch Rafael's bait come to the boat and I'm pitching a jig up to the same area that he's fishing. I can kind of watch my jig as well. And while we're fishing, I'm seeing muskies on the live scope moving around in this area. So I know we're in a good spot. I know there's fish in this area we're fishing, and I'm just I'm kind of switching back between jigging and watching the live scope. And so we get another follow. Rafael gets another follow on his invader, another really nice fish. And so we start working this fish, and I decide to pitch the jig into the area that we've been moving this fish out of. And I'm sitting there watching the live scope, and sure enough, I saw this fish come straight to the jig. And before I could say anything, before I could tell Rafael I see a fish, I felt her right on the jig. She picked it up pretty much immediately, set the hook, and chaos ensued. And when we got that fish in the net, I knew she was big. So that fish measured 49 inches, which turns out to be the big fish of the tournament. And I knew at that moment that fish was going to help us a lot just for the points. And yeah, that was a pretty fun catch. So check it out.
And I mean, like I texted him my number and he didn't call. Yeah. And then he backed it sold the next day. I guess he was talking to someone already.
Yeah. All right, come on, fish.
On the jig, huh?
Yep. Oh yeah.
Probably the one that was fucking following.
Oh god. Oh yeah. Oh god. Oh god. Oh god. Oh god.
Bro.
Oh god.
Bro, that's the fish that was following.
All right, so now at this point, we've got two fish in the boat. We've got a 49 and a 46. To me, I'm feeling pretty good about that. Out of tournaments in the past that I fished, out of this tournament in the past that I fished, usually, like I said, teams with the bigger fish usually take the win. There's a lot of other teams, particularly in some of the smaller streams in West Virginia, that will get lots of numbers, but usually they're smaller fish. And like I said, I've seen teams that have 5 or 6 fish in the boat, you know, between say 35 and 40 inches, you know, 5 or 6 smaller fish will always get beat out by a team that has 3 or 4 fish, but larger in size. So size is always key in this tournament, to me at least. And so I was feeling pretty good having a 49 and a 46. But the action didn't stop. In about another 20 or 30 minutes after releasing that 49, I'm throwing a glide bait, a DF Shum, and sure enough, man, another fish smacked it, and we got that fish in the boat. Unfortunately, I didn't get that one on camera. The GoPro had stopped running for that one, but that fish, we got in, measured it, and I think it was 46 3/4. So another really good fish. And that capped out day 1 of the tournament. We didn't see or catch anything after that. So looking back at it after fishing all day, that first initial move that we made to come up the river was probably key, and it lined up right with the morning bite window. Talking to Brandon later on that day, a lot of the fish that were logged over the course of the day in both Virginia and West Virginia all came within like a 1 or 2 hour window in the morning, right on moon. So it was good that we made that move into that area that had such a dense population of big fish right on that moon. So they put the leaderboard up after day one, and we were in first place with big fish, but we were just in first place. We had two teams right behind us. Rocky Dronenberg and Chris Keene were in third, and Jason Wolf was in second. And second place, I think, was like 2 inches behind us. And Chris and Rocky were just behind them. So it was a really close race. I was not expecting that after catching a 49 and 246s. I kind of thought we'd have a little cushion there, but everyone was catching fish. There's a lot of good sticks fishing this year's tournament, and they were right on our butts, man. So we knew going into day two we had to get more big fish because it was only a half a day tournament, you know, and moon was first thing in the morning, so we knew other guys were going to be catching fish probably first thing. But the only thing we had running for us is there was some weather blowing in. So a cold front with snow and rain was coming in on Sunday morning. So that brings us to day two. Me and Rafael, instead of going back to the same place we fished on day one, you know, we fished it really hard. We cleaned a lot of big fish out of there. I kind of felt like it would be smarter to fish some fresh water for day two. And so we picked a different spot and went for it. And so we get to this area, start fishing right at tournament start, and pretty much right away, I think I moved the fish on a glide bait, and did not get a bite from that fish, just one follow, and couldn't get it to come back. So we kept fishing, and I think it was like an hour and a half or maybe 2 hours in, Rafael got another big fish, hot follow on his shallow invader. That dang shallow invader was freaking finding him. So he moves this fish, it comes in really hot, and he does quite a few figure eights. It sticks around and chases the figure eight several times. It was a really active fish. I thought he was going to get an eat in that eight at one point. The muskie kind of lunged for his bait in the corner, had its mouth open. I thought that was it, but it didn't take it. And so that fish kind of backed off. I think we got it to come in one more time on the shallow invader, but it just kind of came up out of the depths, looked at it, and sunk right back into nothing. So we sat on this fish for a while. I think we were probably there 25 or 30 minutes, and finally I was like, all right, Rafael, let's go, you know, somewhere else for a little while, leave this fish alone, and we'll try to come back to it, you know, in an hour or two and see if it's active again. And right before we left, right after I said this, Rafael was like, you know what? Let me try a Bondi bait. Rafael fishes down at Cave Run with a buddy of his down there, and they do really well on Bondi baits. And because he noticed this fish, the last time she came in, she just kind of rose off the bottom and sunk back down. He thought this fish was sitting right next to the boat. We were in about 12 or 13 feet of water. And in his mind, this fish was sitting right next to us under the boat. And he was right. So he put that Bondi bait on, and the first pitch in there, she ate it and gave him a really good fight. We got her in the net, and we're pretty stoked about that. And I think she was 46 1/4. So that was good. That's what we needed. We needed a big fish on day two, and we were feeling really good about that.
I got one. Huge fish. Huge fish, bro.
She's still on you. Hot fish.
Huge fish.
Still on you. Keep going.
Still there?
Keep going. Yep, still on you. Oh my gosh, you almost hit it. Keep going.
don't see her.
Keep going, don't stop.
She was hot, man. She was big.
Very big.
She's gone.
She almost fucking hit it on that corner. So
Bro, she came in hot. I saw her.
next time, if she comes in again, if she's almost hitting it on the corners like that, hang it on the corner. Go really wide and just hang it on the corner.
Just leave it there, huh?
Yeah, well, just for like a split second. Yeah. There she is. She's on you. She's on you.
Still seeing her?
Well, I think she's just sitting underneath your feet. Or that,
She's on
or
the
she
bottom,
turned
right?
around. I don't see her on the scope.
I think she came up.
What?
I think she came up from the bottom this
Off
time.
the bottom, yeah.
Off the bottom,
'cause
yeah.
I didn't see her till like right here.
Oh, you know what might be thrown over here?
What?
Let's dump a Bundy on her.
Bondi?
Yeah.
You can try it.
I mean, if she's on the bottom.
You can try it.
I got one. I got a fish.
Dude.
I told you. I got her.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, come on, come on. Oh, dude, she's dogging me. She's big. Come on.
Gotta get her out of this current, bud.
I'm trying, bro. There's not much I can do.
Oh, my God.
Bro, she's big.
Over my head, reel down, over my head. Reel down, over my head, over my head, over my head. Got him. Woo!
Motherfucking Bundy, bro. I told you.
Yeah,
I told
dude.
you. Told
Yeah,
you. She was
good
sitting right
call,
underneath
man.
us. She
Good
was sitting
call.
right underneath the boat.
Good call,
And I
man.
saw her come up. I saw her come up twice from the bottom.
Yeah. Good call, man.
She hit it on the second drop.
Yeah.
Second drop.
That's what we needed.
Tim, thank you.
There you go. We'll have to send that to Tim.
Bundies, bro.
Sam's gonna be throwing bondies more now, that's for sure.
Don't lose that fish.
So that fish came in the first hour or two, and we knew other teams were going to be catching fish, so we thought, you know, maybe we should try to get one or two more fish, even if they're smaller. You know, even like a 40 or, you know, low 40s or upper 30s. Let's try to get one more fish before the tournament stops. Because after the first day, lots of fish got caught. You know, teams were catching 3 and 4 fish. A lot of teams were catching 3 and 4 fish. You know, second place and third place, I think both had 3 or 4 fish apiece. So after seeing all the fish that got caught on day 1, I kind of figured the same top teams would catch multiple fish on day 2. So I knew the 46 that we caught early on was a good thing, but I knew we needed to catch 1 or 2 more fish to keep the lead. And so we went, moved around to some different areas, and tried to catch one more, but it didn't happen. We didn't see another fish after that 46 that we caught. It was a really good window early on that we hit, and we happened to be in a good spot, you know, in the right spot for that window. But after that window closed, it got cold, it got nasty, it started snowing and sleeting and raining, and the fish just completely shut down. So we didn't see another fish all day, and I wasn't too confident after that. I figured we'd have a top 3 finish, but I kind of figured either Jason's team or Rocky's team would have caught more fish on day 2. So I wasn't feeling too confident. We kept the lead on that. But you never know. And turns out the other guys had difficulties catching fish too. I don't think Rocky's team caught fish on day 2, but Jason caught a 48 on day 2. So if you remember, we were just barely in the lead on day 1. I think by like maybe 3 or 4 inches on day 1. And so we caught that 46 on day 2, and the second place team, caught a 48. So now we're only in the lead by like 2 inches. That 46 that Raphael caught was clutch. If it had been a smaller fish, or if we hadn't caught a fish on day 2, Jason's team would have beat us out for first. But luckily, we took first place in the tournament, and big fish. And we were pretty stoked on that, pretty happy about that. Had a great time fishing it. Me and Raphael had a blast out there. Lots of laughing, lots of joking around. It wasn't all seriousness. You know, we did fish really hard for 2 days, but we had a lot of fun doing it. And of course, Brandon puts on a great tournament. It's a lot of fun every year I fish it. I plan to fish it again next year. And if you're a musky angler on the East Coast or anywhere in North America, and you'd like to fish a really fun tournament on some great water, I would highly recommend any of Figure 8 tournaments. The Musky in the Mountains is a tournament he does in West Virginia on Stonewall Jackson Lake, and then Battle of the Virginias, which is the tournament we fished, is open water West Virginia and Virginia. You can fish anywhere in the state, and that really opens up some options. So if you're a lake guy and you like fishing lakes, you can fish the lakes. If you're a river guy and you like fishing moving water, you got tons of moving water to choose from in both states. Lots of good water. But thanks for tuning in, guys. We hope you liked the video. Me and Raphael had a blast fishing the tournament, and hope to do it again next year. Don't forget, JROtackle.com. That's our store. We've got lots of swag, shirts, hats, buffs, stickers, lots of baits, lots of custom baits from the custom bait market here in Virginia and West Virginia and all around the country. We got lots of baits that you can only find at JROtackle.com, as well as terminal tackle, leaders, rods, you name it, we got it. So check us out at JROtackle.com. Thanks, guys.